Been around Payton.
Yeah.
What's his legacy?
A winner, number one.
Yes.
I think the most important thing, what Shefty said, during that time, I don't think people understand the gravity, and Ryan can speak to this more than I can, of what Katrina could have done to everything around it. The Saints were the reason New Orleans revived. Like when you look for something or you looking for something to hang on to, I was in Dallas at the time, and they were putting people on buses, sending them everywhere. And Sean Payton and Drew Brees were the representatives of New Orleans to the world. And he stood in that moment and delivered a championship. I'll never forget that first game back against the Falcons. Like, that was one of the craziest atmospheres I've ever seen in the NFL. So I attribute leadership. Me and Sean are really good friends. I know him really well. Did not talk to him about retirement. That's one of the things we always said to each other. Look, man, if I'm making a decision, don't call me, right? And I don't want no information, but the bottom line is a leader, a winner, and I know he hates this term, but I'm going to use it, a player's coach, because you want to play for him once you realize that he is real and as authentic as they come.
He's a hope giver, right? When you look at what New Orleans was at that time, not only as an organization, but as a city, it was hopeless.
Yep.
Right? We had people sleeping outside of the Superdomes, people sleeping outside of the convention center, and that was the city in holistic view, right? It was a city that had a bleak perspective of what the future could be. And that was always what the New Orleans Saints were. I'm not a New Orleans Saints fan for that reason. They were never any good.
Yeah.
But there were so many people there that bleed black and gold, my family included. And that's why you can't say a bad word about Drew Brees. You can't say a bad word about Sean Payton, because in the bleakest moment of what New Orleans was, they were hope.
Yep.
And I think Sean Payton's legacy goes far beyond what he's meant to football in New Orleans, and it's great that they were able to revitalize a city.
You know, Dan, we've heard Payton say there, I haven't been contacted by media companies. I am not going to go and coach in the immediate future. Even Adam Schefter saying, for those out there who say he's going to go to the Cowboys right now, it's not happening. Sorry, Marcus. What do you think's next for Sean Payton?
Kind of whatever he wants. I mean, he's a highly successful NFL coach who's well thought out and well spoken, and his resume speaks for itself. So if he wants to go coach, great. And if he wants to go into television, he's going to be really good at that. I hope that Sean Payton coaches in the NFL again. I think he's a great ambassador for the NFL. Yeah. He ain't doing it in Dallas. Not next year.
Okay.
I think he's a great ambassador for the NFL. I think he's a great ambassador for New Orleans. I also think, like, isn't he Drew Brees' Bill Walsh?
Yeah.
You know what Bill Walsh was to Joe Montana? This guy that was talented, but like physically not what you, I guess, quote unquote, want in your quarterback. But he does so many different things incredibly well. Well, how do I get him to kind of reach his Hall of Fame potential per his talent? And that's kind of what they built in New Orleans. I mean, he took Drew Brees and made him a Hall of Famer. Now, Drew obviously played his part in that, but and you know, for me as a person that was relatively young when Sean was still starting as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, he was one of the coaches that had that quarterback and coach relationship that you kind of envied and modeled.
Yeah.
It was the New England kind of mindset with Tom Brady and Charlie Weiss or Josh McDaniels, and that was a group or a duo that kind of matched that, both relationship and success.
Yeah.
Mina, what does this mean for the Saints and Jameis Winston as well?
You guys got to say all the nice stuff. Now I get to be the bearer of bad news about
That's why we love you.
the future of the
Thank
New
you so
Orleans
much.
Shall we
Saints.
set that up?
And what about the money? The money ain't great. So everybody at home is aware of New Orleans' cap situation. It's not been great for a while. They're about $70 million over the cap next year, which is the worst in the NFL. There are things that they can do to come under it. Contracts that can be restructured. Michael Thomas comes to mind. Marshawn Lattimore. But there are also free agents like Tron Armstead and Marcus Williams and Quan Alexander. They probably won't be able to keep. And then, of course, there's the Jameis question. Because even if you are able to do some restructuring and keep any of those defensive stars in particular, Armstead, whether or not you think Jameis, whatever you think of him as a quarterback, he is the most desirable free agent option. And the Saints won't just be competing with the Saints for his services. So it's going to be hard for them to retain him, given how little money they have. And, of course, that makes a whole new question mark.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.